Hello there, I am the Biblical Translator, and basically I call myself that because I look through the Bible and I kind of translate it. Well, not literally, but I kind of paraphrase or I put it in my own words and I kind of try to make sense of it so that it can make sense to other people. Now, my interpretation doesn't mean it's actually fact. It's just a different way of looking at the Bible and what it's telling us and how we can relate to it today. So today I was reading in Acts and I was reading about the part where the religious leaders called Jesus a demon. They said he was full of demons. And he went through quite a lot of trying to defend himself. You know, it's almost like normally people who go to that extent to defend themselves feel somewhat insecure. And I was wondering, why did he go through so much lengths to say that it didn't apply to him, that accusation didn't apply to him? So let me just read it here. It is Mark 4 and verse 23. Jesus called them over. Oh, let me just say it from 22 actually. But the teachers of religious law who had arrived from Jerusalem said, "He's possessed by Satan, the prince of demons. That's where he gets the power to cast out demons." And this was in response to Jesus going around and getting rid of evil spirits in people and bringing them back whole. So Jesus called them over and responded with an illustration. How can Satan cast out Satan, he asked. A kingdom divided by civil war? Well, we say a kingdom divided by itself will collapse, but this is the New Believer's Bible, so it's termed a little differently. So the kingdom divided against itself will collapse. Similarly, a family splintered by feuding will fall apart. And if Satan is divided and fights against himself, how can he stand? He would never survive. Let me illustrate this further. Who is powerful enough to enter the house of a strong man and plunder his goods? Only someone who's even stronger, someone who could tie him up and then plunder his house. I tell you the truth. All sin and blasphemy can be forgiven, but anyone who blasphemes the Holy Spirit will never be forgiven. This is a sin with eternal consequences. He told them this because they were saying he was possessed by an evil spirit. So you can see the extent he went to defend himself from being called someone who's possessed with an evil spirit. Now, why didn't he just let them say what they wanted to say? I mean, what does the Bible tell us about defending ourselves? Turn the other cheek? But that doesn't mean that we have to take abuse. And I think there is a point in us where we really need to defend ourselves for whatever reason. There's a difference between retaliation and defending ourselves and self-defense. So the Bible doesn't advocate retaliation, but self-defense, there are plenty of passages in the Bible that will support people who defend themselves. So we're not open to abuse. So it was obvious that when they said he was possessed by the devil or by demons or evil spirits, it really affected him. And he really felt as though he had to prove that what they were saying wasn't true. And I just thought, when we defend ourselves as humans, the reason we do is because we are concerned about our opinion, people's opinion of us. And we don't want to be judged wrongfully. We don't want to be accused of something we didn't do. And when our reputation is at stake, we don't want somebody to say that we are somebody that we're not. And that strikes a very a very strong chord in us, doesn't it? You know, it touches a nerve. When somebody accuses you of something you haven't done, or accuses you of being something that you're not, like a thief or a murderer or a liar, it really grates you, and you are apt to try to defend yourself. So is this passage showing us the humanness of Jesus in saying that, okay, yes, I am God's son, but you're crossing the line there. You're touching a nerve. You're touching a nerve by saying that I am. You know, I've got a spirit of demon within me. And then he goes on to say that he who blasphemes against the Holy Spirit. So what he was actually saying is that the fact that they are accusing him of being the prince of demons, and because he is a child of God, they are actually blaspheming against the Holy Spirit, which has dire consequences. Sometimes when we speak to people, or we chastise people, or we accuse people, we do not realize the depths that it touches. And sometimes we do not realize how much it hurts. Because a lot of times we all have triggers. And there are wounds from our past that are still not healed. We think they're healed, and we're going about our daily business, but let somebody say the wrong thing that reminds us of something that happened a long time ago, and you'll find that you react or retaliate or, you know, jump up because it's triggered something in you. So that accusation obviously triggered something in Jesus, why he felt he had to defend himself. And I don't know what that trigger is, because he should have been self-assured enough for it not to affect him, for him to poo-poo it, basically. But he took it very, very seriously. Did not like to be called the Prince of Demons. I don't think anybody would, but you know, sometimes we get called names, and we get called what they say out of our name, and it's very hurtful. And yes, like I said, most of us, we will defend our reputation. It's our honour, isn't it? It's who we are. And when you start, you know, slandering, because even in court, you know, for slander, you can be fined a hell of a lot of money. And in essence, that's what they were doing. They were slandering Jesus by calling him the Prince of Demons. But I think that those religious leaders were constantly goading him and trying to rile him up. And there's nothing much you can do when somebody wants to rile you up. You have people out there who are constantly on you to kind of get you aggravated, to provoke you. They are just out there, and we have to try and not allow it to affect us. Actually, Jesus was quite assertive. He wasn't rude. He didn't come over as emotional or temperamental. He was quite calm. And like I said, he was assertive. So yes, you can stand up for yourself. If somebody calls you out of your name, or they accuse you of something you haven't done, you can give them an example, or you can show them, you can give them an alibi, or show them how it wasn't you that did it. But, you know, I just think, don't fall into the trap of when people are goading you by accusing you. They call it gaslighting. And you know, in the narcissistic world, and those religious leaders were a bunch of narcissists. So they used to try and goad Jesus. So, and I think it's the same for people in our lives. We have to make sure we're not goaded, and we have to make sure we take things in our stride and behave accordingly. Anyway, I am the Biblical Translator. You'll find me on YouTube, and please subscribe, share, and